welcome back to Cloud Reset. Obviously, we're out here in the lovely Western Australia at the Higher Education Technology Agenda, or the Theta Conference, as some of you might know it. I'm delighted to introduce Cliff Ashford, Senior Director, Enterprise Systems and Data at Monash University. Cliff has worked around the globe in multiple roles across most industries. He finally washed up on the shores of Victoria and now leads the enterprise application and data analytics functions at Monash University. He describes himself thusly: an endlessly restless entrepreneur and champion of the 3Ds: data, delivery, and disruption. Welcome to the podcast,
Thank
Cliff.
you.
It's lovely to have you.
So talk us through it. I mean, obviously we've been having lots of wonderful conversations. We're about to have another one with you as well. I'm sure you've been talking to a lot of people. What is it you're hoping to get out of the conference over the next few days?
This conference, I've been many of versions of this over the past 10 years.
Yep.
It's always useful when we go to it. You get a lot of the key thinkers in the sector coming to this conference, and you get some of the best conversations.
You do.
What's interesting this year is some of the things that we've been talking about for a long time around standards in data and systems and security are really coming together.
Yep.
The latest announcement from Codit that we're moving to a standard definition of the services we can have is fascinating. I'm not sure how that'll work out, but I think it's a ballsy thing to try and do.
Sure.
From my point of view, the Mortarcaps piece, which is essentially the HERM model for data that comes out of Codit, which is being taken down to a more deep level, so we can actually use it in data exchange between systems and consistency across our vendors and what our definition of a student is, an enrollment is, or a search output, each of these things. That's transformative. Currently at Monash, we're in the process of implementing a new student management system. So Lucian Banner is going in to replace our current system, Callista, that we've had for the last 25 years.
Wow. Big change.
It's a huge change,
Yeah.
and a huge part of the project is having to take those data structures that we built up over decades in Callista and map them to new technology from Lucian.
Right.
That's hard, it's non-trivial, and we want to make sure that we make the best job of it, because we're going to have this student management system for another 20 years.
Yes.
So let's get it right this
Question for you on that. So just sort of harking to our own experience here, and there's sort of two real schools of thought that you can approach that from a data modeling, data platform perspective.
Sure.
You could try and sidestep the problem, but maybe apply an agentic view to it. And then I know within our own business, we went agent by data source because we didn't want to solve the data problem necessarily up front. What's your thinking on that? Is this very much a data what's the word I'm looking for? Exercise? So there's another word that I was trying to think of, but what's your views on that?
Well, it's sort of a holistic view.
Yeah.
So we've been working on this problem at Monash for a while. So we had old systems around data, around integration, around our actual platforms, which is why we're replacing some of them. But we tried to start with data governance and say, what do we actually want to do with the data? We need it to run our business, but we also want to do other things with it, like drive other systems, drive our strategic decision making, drive our modeling of what we do.
Yeah.
So how do we govern the data in a way we can use it for the day-to-day, but also use it for strategic stuff in a safe, cyber-secure fashion, where we're not doing anything inappropriate with the data, and everything has been signed off.
Yes.
So we defined that long before we put the chip systems change through. So decided what we want to do, then we looked at the models that were there and built those on top, and then looked at the tech to see how the tech can support us doing those things.
Perfect.
Which has worked out well at the end of it, and it means we're not compromising when we put the systems in, because we've already done the thinking and know where we're starting from, and we know what good looks like.
That's incredible that you can be in that position already, because I know that many organisations that we've spoken to, they're so nervous about turning on LLMs within their own business because they don't want to expose data that shouldn't be exposed, right? Things that are coming up in queries or commands or prompts that shouldn't be. Sometimes for organisations, this is a multi-year discipline, and a lot of it is it's disrupting culture and end user change. And if we're all thinking about the artifacts that we produce and their classifications, etc., you're interrupting the flow of how people work, and that takes time. But if you've managed to achieve that sufficient for you to drive outcomes over the top already, you've done pretty well in that amount of time.
We've kept our eye on the ball on this. We knew what we wanted to do.
Right.
We brought the university with us so that people understood what data governance was and why we were doing it. So now you get the ability to say, We have a robust process at the university. So yeah, if you want to stick an LLM on top of something, we can fine-grain the data that goes into it. The data's clean, but we can also restrict it to stuff which is appropriate for that model and exclude the stuff that's not appropriate.
Yeah.
Through a governance process and through the technology layer, the governance is baked into.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference, and it stops mistakes being made because we have all the right tools in place. It did take 5 years to build up to this, but we're at the point now where we can really take advantage of it. So it's a good investment, but it takes a while.
Sure.
Yeah, we talk a lot of organizations, particularly in the commercial sector right now, and a lot of our listeners are thinking about how they can improve their maturity around data governance, because they've realized that they can't do an AI project, which is what they're getting a lot of pressure to do, either from their customers or from business owners. They can't do an AI project without doing some kind of data project.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are behind in this space, and it seems to be a bit of a race to catch up.
It is, and because I have this conversation a lot with various people, and they say, "How do we do what you did?" And it's that old answer. Well, you start 5 years ago.
Yeah,
So,
that was that 5-year use case that we had. We actually did a whole series on that. We said, listen, this generative AI thing has worked. It's lived up to its promise. What decisions did we make working backwards in order to get there, right? And that's precisely the answer.
yeah, and if I wanted to pretend I was super clever, I'd say I knew the AI was coming, so I prepared the ground for it.
Yes.
But it was just a very lucky thing that came through to say, "Oh, see how clever I am. We've already done the groundwork, so we can move forward."
Is that kind of like people who bought Bitcoin for nefarious purposes many years ago?
It's maybe like that. Yeah.
Okay.
You mean those that didn't have the Bitcoin confiscated when certain websites got shut down by the FBI, that kind of thing?
Don't want to say too much about it.
About that. It's probably not relevant.
But I like your analogy, Cliff, and it reminds me of another one. The best time to plant a tree was 5 years ago.
Exactly.
The second best time is right now.
Yeah, it's never too late to start.
All right. So let's talk about where you go from here and how do you manage expectation, because clearly there's a lot of hype, there's a lot of aspiration. I'm sure students will have a lot of aspiration as well. How do you temper that?
Well,
Do you have to?
one thing is you're careful how you use the language around this, because we want to be sure that we're safe to use these things. So again, we built the model so we could be sure it was there. But people always ask for the one thing you haven't prepared for. And then you always end up in that conversation, if only you'd asked me for that thing instead of this, I could just give it to you. And now I have to explain to you why you can't have that. We've managed to move the saying no to the business away from IT, though.
Okay.
Because I don't like it to feel that the IT castle is denying you access to these things, because it's not the case. We put the process in place and say, if it's appropriate and the university says it's fine for a student project to use, I don't know, building utilization data or something like that, and it's signed up by the right people, then good, we can just grant it. So we have the agility now, but we also have the sort of the structural validity about whether it's okay to do these things. And we can drive it to the right people, so no one can say, I never knew about this because it's been signed off by the appropriate people.
I love this. We had a conversation, Jono, around the value that is held within universities and the power that can lead to in terms of maturity of LLMs and training. I'm wondering, Cliff, whether we'll see a situation where you would put a value on your data to say to an OpenAI or Microsoft or anyone who's training a model, say, you want to train your model with our IP, here's the cost and the value of my data set. What do you think of that?
Well, again, it's something I would make sure it wasn't me making that conversation. So I would take it to the commercialization department of the university and say, we have these things.
Yes.
It's entirely up to you if you'd like to find a way to monetize them.
I get it.
The difficulty with that is universities, any monetization of anything like that is a rounding error compared to the money that we run for the university in terms of student education and research. We'd be doing that to prove that we could work in a commercial fashion rather than make any real money out of it. And that's good, because we like to show that we can work with industry and that we're not just entirely academic and blinkered about what the realities of the universe are.
Yeah.
But people shouldn't get carried away with thinking, we'll fund a university through this method. It's never going to pay that much money. But it's
interesting.
As a revenue stream, it's more of a test case.
It's a proof that we can operate on the same level as a commercial organization.
I think it's interesting because certainly in the commercial sector, the value of data as a commodity is starting to be seen as a very different thing than it was 2 years, 3 years, 5 years ago. And organizations who are sitting on a lot of legacy data sets and data sets that previously didn't really have any value or were tucked away in cold storage or archives are now thinking about, well, actually data is the raw material for my AI insights or my AI engine, and it's actually worth something now. And a lot of people are talking about, well, I think we had another guest on the pod saying, LLMs originally were trained on everything on the internet. It's kind of stolen, and the future looks very different in terms of the value of your data sets.
Let's talk about the value of a business too, just to extend that further. Like imagine, the standard multipliers. What is my business worth? And if someone's going to acquire our business, how do you figure out what it's worth? And the market will say it's a 6 or 7 times multiplier. Data centers, it could be 15, 20, 30 times, etc. I'm wondering whether in the future we can use LLMs to essentially aggregate, assess, and train on all the data that's held within an organisation to give you a number of what that business is worth. I'm going down a rabbit hole here, Cliff, and
that is a very deep,
you to entertain me.
very deep rabbit hole you've just gone down. Yeah, possibly something else. It's definitely the case. All of this has changed our relationship with our vendors as well, because yes, people realise the value of the data, and it's stored on your SaaS platform, but it's still our data.
Yeah.
And having that clear conversation that you don't get to restrict our access to our data with your platform. That's a clear conversation we have very early with everybody. We need to be able to pull it in and use it because we've got dozens of other purposes we have it. We lots of other plans about how we can optimize the institution. We like to understand how we're using the space. Monash, we've got a huge campus. Campus is the size of a suburb. And we have shops on it, we have theatres on it, we have bars on it, as well as all the teaching things. We have massive car parks, we've got power generation, we've got everything you can possibly imagine. That's a rich data source. And the people who should take most advantage of it, first of all, are ourselves. That helps drive the university, it helps drive research projects, it helps drive efficiencies in the university. It's our own playground to work in, and we have to have that available to us. So we can't have data sets inaccessible to our own people.
Of course.
Now, the fact that LLMs, that changed the world, we already had machine learning things that we were using on top of these things. So we were already taking advantage of the bulk of the data to do something predictive with it. LLMs is like the next step, but it's a far more human type technology. It's not something locked away in a data science major. It's actually anybody can take advantage of this very easily.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that we noticed. The areas of adoption of the tech when it came into Monash were areas that are normally very change resistant to new tech coming in.
Oh, how interesting.
So the human-facing areas, like HR, a lot of the education spaces, there's things that we were doing that previously they would have gone, we'll need a formal tool to do this. I'm not sure we really want to do it. It sounds like extra administration work to do. Oh God, we're going to have to change it. This came along and people self-adopted, which was brilliant.
Did that come after use? So where did that inspiration come from? Is it just that they had a sense of it already, or how did it work?
The barrier to entry was so low.
I see.
Whereas machine learning, which is ubiquitous now, but understanding it and using it, most people didn't touch it.
True.
As soon as the LLMs came out, like days after it was in the media, when the first version of ChatGPT 3 came out, suddenly everybody was popping up using it. We were playing catch up initially, going, hold on, we suddenly realized that it's everywhere. And then the conversation comes, okay, our data's going into this, we need to do something and react very quickly to it, which we did. So that we could say, yes, you can use this tech, but you can use it in a safe way. So we put the safe solutions in place really quickly.
Probably no greater impact globally than universities, right? If you think about the work that students are doing, right? Who's been impacted more by this tech, for good or otherwise, than universities?
We are a very human organisation. It's all about teaching people.
Yeah.
So, and it does disrupt the education piece.
Yeah.
In a good way and a bad way. Like all these technologies, it cuts both ways.
Sure.
So that's been fascinating as people learn how to use the tech, because it's so accessible. You can use it, you pull it up in 2 seconds to do anything. Are you getting value out of it or not?
Yeah.
Are you missing what you could do with it? Do you understand the possibilities of what you can do with it? Are you using it at a very superficial level?
Yeah.
All of that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And where we're going with it, I don't know. We were discussing today strategic plans, and when the stuff came out, it disrupted everything. Suddenly we were going that way, now we're going that way.
Listen, the language has changed. So Satya Nadella has just finished the Build conference for Microsoft, and he's now talking about peering relationships, whereby you've probably heard of this concept of the digital twin, for example, as opposed to augmentation, using tech to change and more efficiently allow us to work and operate, etc. You're talking about a peer-level relationship with something that is next to you, that's doing a job much akin to yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And enhancing what you can do, taking a lot of the donkey work out of what we do. There's an awful lot of just dull work that we do, and it can take that off your plate. It doesn't mean you have to place the role.
Yeah.
It means the role can focus on the what it's really meant to be about. So it's my strongest suspicion is we haven't got anywhere near to actually plumbing the depths of what this can do. It was probably this conference 2 years ago where I first saw somebody pull up essentially a real-time simulation of a scenario in which you engage in the scenario, and it has infinite different outcomes. And that was, I don't know, a 50-line prompt somebody put in, and it was behaving as if it was driving a real-world situation.
Sure.
That is massive educationally. You no longer just have to pretend from a series of scenarios I'm going to write an essay about what I would do in the circumstance. You can actually engage with the scenario, and you can see how the scenario plays out and the consequences of your decisions.
Yeah.
It's huge in the medical space. Give them this drug. Oh, okay, now they've collapsed on the floor. All right, what will they do next? That sort of thing, that modelling of reality in a way that you can just do so trivially it's beyond disruptive.
It's incredibly powerful for education.
Sorry.
Speaking of fascinating stuff, give us the coolest thing, in your opinion, that you're working on at the moment. Can you give us a summary? What's going on behind the scenes? Just give us something cool. Leave it with our listeners.
So my coolest favourite thing just now is because I'm a data guy, is the data lakehouse that we built.
Okay.
With Databricks. I've spent all my career working with data with telling people, again, no, you can't do that just now because we don't have that specific thing you do. Oh, that'll take too long to do, etc., etc. Or it's a bit too unsafe to do that. We built the lakehouse following the principles that were published in the white paper about 5 years ago. It's startlingly powerful because it's cloud native, it works infinitely scalable. It's got, again, the governance baked in from the ground up so people can't do the wrong thing in it. It's got all of the tools because the nature of that is more open source tools, so the tools just get added into the environment as you go along. So I want to build this in Python or R, I want to use the latest LLM. Okay, they're all available, and they're all security trimmed. So I can't accidentally do the wrong stuff with it because we've already baked it into the entire infrastructure. So that failing to safe is what we really wanted with these things. It's too easy to do the wrong thing. So the whole environment, keeping you safe, having the guide rails in place in terms of what we've granted. Yeah. That means we can open that up to anybody in the university rather than just a sort of core group of people that you can trust to keep safe.
I love that.
That's finally democratizing the use of data at the institution. And that's hugely powerful.
And you know what? That's consistent with pretty much every conversation we're having at the moment. Not every organisation is mature as you, and I credit you with that. That's fantastic. Such a good story around control and governance and allowing aspiration and everyone's discrete inspiration to then follow and know that they're safe and protected is wonderful. And you're just limited then to your imagination and how far you want to run with it.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for joining us on Cloud Reset. And I know we're going to have a great time over the next few days as well. We've got the gala tonight as well. Looking forward to that. I'm sure I'll see you there. Thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Terrific. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.